Welcome into PFF TV. Austin Gayle here with Mike Renner, the host of PFF's 2-for-1 Drafts podcast. We are going through the latest PFF mock draft courtesy of Mike Renner. Remember, this is what PFF think will happen. A prediction mock draft based off what we're hearing from scouts, NFL teams, those type of things. This is what we think will happen come April's draft, not what we would do if we were the GM of all 32 teams. We got some trades in this mock draft as well. I'm kind of excited for that. Let's go and get right to the first pick. First pick, you can put this one in Sharpie. You can get a tattoo of this one on your neck. Joe Burrow is going number 1 to the Cincinnati Bengals. Adam Schefter is not even exploring a trade down scenario. They know Joe Burrow, number 1, Cincinnati.
I'm not buying any sort of Justin Herbert smoke to the Bengals.
No.
To me, it would very much be like drafting Ryan Leaf over Peyton Manning. Not off-field issues, whatever aside, not saying Justin Herbert has that. It's just you're very much overthinking it if you go anyone other than Joe Burrow.
I agree with you 100%. Number 2, Chase Young. Again, another one that it already feels like this one's written down in pen. Chase Young to the Washington Redskins at 2, the best defensive player in this draft.
Yeah, if Tua Tagovailoa didn't have necessarily the hip injury where there was that concern, I could foresee it being conversation for the Redskins. Do we go to Dwayne Haskins, was a mid-first rounder, not necessarily a sure thing franchise guy just yet. But with that injury and Chase Young being, Chase Young, it's a no-brainer.
And I said Chase Young, best defensive player. He's the best non-quarterback in this draft. Let's get it right. Number 3, you have the Miami Dolphins trading up to go grab Tua Tagovailoa. Injury risk not too big for Miami. They need a quarterback. This is the only quarterback in this class with 90-plus graded seasons in back-to-back years, and he did it in the SEC. This guy's a legit talent.
Yeah, Tua, obviously, they'll know more about that hip injury come draft day, but he is the Dolphins to be had if the Dolphins want him. They have more draft capital to trade up. In this scenario, they use one of their other first rounders to go up and get Tua at number 3, make sure they get their guy. And to me, like you said, 2 back-to-back 90-plus passing grades in the SEC. I think he is very much a franchise quarterback prospect. If he's healthy, you cannot draft him too highly. Go up and get your guy.
Moving to number 4, Dave Gettleman's New York Giants. They bring in Jedrick Wills Jr. of Alabama, an explosive, just monster right tackle for Alabama. Great run blocker, also looked good in pass protection. This guy, real chance to be the first offensive tackle off the board.
I was going to say, they got to start blocking Chase Young now twice a year. They need someone to protect Daniel Jones there. I think it could be Jedrick Wills, the most athletic offensive tackle in this class. Not quite there yet in pass pro. His feet are sometimes all over the place, but man, watching him pass off stunts, react to stuff is a thing of beauty. To me, he could have an all-time sort of combine.
Number 5, Detroit Lions trade down. They grab Jeffrey Okudah, probably the guy they take at 3 anyway. This guy, a very sticky man corner, best cornerback in this class. It's not even close. 5-star pedigree, all the tools you want, and the production in 2019.
Yeah, and he plays a ton of man coverage at Ohio State, which they play as much man coverage as anyone in the NFL there in Detroit. So it makes almost too much sense. And the thing is, at number 3, he's who we draft anyway. So I think it makes a ton of sense. So if they are the Detroit Lions at number 3, if it is the Chargers, if it is the Dolphins, if it is someone looking to come up, I'd be more than willing to do so if I'm Detroit.
Number 6, Justin Herbert falls into the lap of the Los Angeles Chargers. This would be a dream scenario in my opinion. I think they might have to trade up to get Justin Herbert, knowing where the quarterback position is in this, in the drafts nowadays. But he falls to number 6. I think this makes a ton of sense. Philip Rivers probably moving on in the offseason. It's a new era in the Chargers uniform here.
Yeah, getting rid of Philip Rivers, I'm not exactly sure the sort of thought process behind it, but it looks like they have, from all reports, moved on from Philip Rivers, aren't going to pursue him this offseason. At that point, they obviously need a quarterback. Justin Herbert has the tools. He makes a lot of sense from the top 10 from a tools perspective. On field, we still have question marks, but he offers a big arm that you cannot coach.
And he's 6'6", great head of hair.
Looks
this guy looks the part. Number 7, you have Isaiah Simmons, the versatile piece of that Clemson defense, a linebacker at the next level who's going to offer a ton as a coverage player. He can rush the passer. This guy can play free safety. He can do anything for Matt Rule and the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, the heir apparent to Luke Kuechly there. They need someone to fill his shoes. Big shoes to fill, but Isaiah Simmons is a special prospect in his own right. Him and Shaq Thompson be one of the most athletic linebacking cores. 2 guys who are that safety linebacker hybrid. I think you can just do a lot sort of with those 2 in the middle of your defense. That's kind of the way the NFL is trending nowadays, is guys who can just cover space, cover ground over the middle of the field. To have 2 of those in your defense would just be child's play for any defense coordinator.
NFL defense are trying to put more athletes on the football field. Isaiah Simmons, exactly that, playing off-ball linebacker. Number 8, talking about athletes, Andrew Thomas, another athletic offensive tackle in this class. He goes to the Arizona Cardinals, who run a ton of screens, try and get people out wide. I mean, it's light personnel all day long. This is a great fit for Arizona.
Yeah, Andrew Thomas has been one of the best pass protecting tackles in the nation for 3 straight years now. He just does not get beaten a lot. You'll see reps where, he loses to Kayvon Chason, but really in that entire game against LSU, he more than held his own. He won that matchup. So I think he is the top tackle on our draft board. The Cardinals in a very good spot to be getting some sort of talent at the offensive tackle position, and much needed for them.
Protect the offensive rookie of the year and Kyler Murray. Number 9, Derek Brown, the mountain. Look at this guy. Dude, it's like double your size. I know it's a little inflated. Let's not get into that. But Derek Brown.
I'm not sure that is. That might just be his
That
size.
might be just how big he is. But Derek Brown is going to be an elite run defender right out of the gate. This guy has shown that he can 2-gap at the next level. He can add as a pass rusher, but you know what you're getting with Derek Brown at number 9.
Yeah, I mean, they've drafted a lot of defensive linemen in recent years, but their run defense has still suffered. Needs someone there to just keep those linebackers clean, those undersized linebackers behind them. That's Derek Brown to a T, and you can go 4 guys across then with that Jaguars defense if you add Derek Brown that can add as pass rushers. Now, I think that's a very valuable thing to have, to be able to just rush 4 and know they're going to get home in the NFL.
Number 10, remember, this is what we think could happen. We're hearing that the NFL is very high on Mekhi Becton. This dude is a monster, a mountain of a man that can really, you just can't coach that. He has tools and traits that you just can't coach. We are kind of hesitant with his production. He's lower on our board, but in this situation, what we think could happen, number 10, Cleveland Browns, Mekhi Becton of Louisville.
He's still a very raw player, but you can't teach 6'7", 370. You just can't. The biggest dude in this draft, and he does not move like the biggest dude in this draft. He's going to test out, I think, fairly well at the NFL Combine. He has some blocks on tape where he legitimately throws guys.
Yeah.
Like throws across the football field, picks them up, throws them. He is so powerful, but is just still a very raw prospect. And the thing is, there's reasons why he was raw. Was flipping between left and right tackle his freshman and sophomore years based on the formation, so play to play really messed up his technique, or really just kind of stunted his growth at the left tackle position. We saw him take a big step forward this year. I mean, he keeps taking those big steps forward. You could see him be one of the better left tackles in the NFL someday. We're just hesitant on it because he is not quite right now.
100%. It's time for the receivers to come off the board. Number 11, Jerry Jeudy of Alabama. Wide receiver 1A or 1B, depending where you see CeeDee Lamb in this class. He goes to New York, immediately helps Sam Darnold. This guy can separate. Yes, a lot of his production came in the slot, but this guy can beat you outside, inside, put a kick returner, running back. I don't care. This guy's good enough.
Yeah, I mean, he gets off the line of scrimmage as well as any receiver in the country. The press coverage is kind of what you worry about with a lot of slot wide receivers. How are they going to adjust? Not with him.
No.
I mean, he just moves at a different level entirely. Guys whiff on him in press coverage routinely. I'd be terrified to press him with how special he is as an athlete. If you're the Jets, getting a guy like him at number 11, I'd be licking my chops. Like that would be one of the all-time steals to me. He is a special wide receiver 1 type of prospect.
Before and after the catch, just moves different. He's just a different breed of athlete. Number 12, Raiders grab wide receiver 1A, 1B, CeeDee Lamb. This is going to immediately help whoever's quarterbacking the Las Vegas Raiders in this upcoming season. CeeDee Lamb got better size than Jerry Jeudy. He can also win down the football field, and very good after the catch as well.
Yeah, I mean, 26 broken tackles on 62 receptions this year. That's an absurdly high rate. His work at the catch point is why he is currently our wide receiver 1A. Like, he is just so good down the football field. You saw him against Derek Stingley in the playoff, just one-on-one. Stingley's in his hip pocket. He outjumps him, makes the play. Like, that is how good he is at the catch point consistently over the course of his career. Not quite on the level Jeudy is athletically, but I mean, he's probably going to run the 4.4. He's a pretty darn good athlete in his own right. So
Absolutely.
CeeDee Lamb, very productive receiver.
All right, number 13, you have Dallas Cowboys trading up. Go grab a game changer in Xavier McKinney, the versatile safety for Alabama. This window is closing. You've already shelled out a ton of money. Ezekiel Elliott, Jalen Smith, Dak's coming up. You're going to need to take advantage of this. Amari Cooper, you're going to have to pay. Go up. Get a guy that can add to your team now. Xavier McKinney at 13 to Dallas.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are very much in a win-now sort of state to where they can say, hey, it's a weak safety class. There's not a lot of guys who look like impact day 1 stars, and we're not going to be able to get one on round 2. So let's go up and get our guy who's probably the top safety on our board with how just sound he is across the board. Very versatile piece for Alabama, graded out extremely well in the PFF grading system each of the last 2 seasons. I think, again, he's just a guy who could help you right now in definitely a position of need. So that's why I think I could see the Cowboys going up and getting a guy like that.
Number 14, Tampa Bay. They get in Javon Kinlaw, the guy that won everybody over in Mobile at the Senior Bowl. The guy's built like a monster. I don't even know how you block this guy at the next level. Great length, great size, athleticism, the character, JUCO prospect. I'm done. I'm saying enough good things about this guy. 14, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and the thing I love is he still doesn't have a ton of pass rushing moves, yet produced at a high level as a pass rusher. He had a 90-plus pass rushing grade this past season, 88.7 the year before that. So 2 years now of elite pass rushing grades, and he really only has a couple pass rushing moves. He's got to swim, he's got to push-pull. That's how he does most of his work, and the athletic tools, the physical tools are off the charts. Basically, if you were to build a defensive tackle, it would look like this guy. I think if you get him at 14, that'd be a steal.
Yep. 15, Denver Broncos, Tristan Wirfs. Again, offensive line. This is a good offensive tackle class. He can play interior at the next level, but you probably want to start him out at tackle, especially with the way Garrett Bowles has panned out a little bit in Denver. Tristan Wirfs, athletic player, Iowa underclassman to Denver.
I think they definitely still at least give Garrett Bowles another year to work there at left tackle. The thing is, Ronald Leary and his big cap hit this year with his injury history probably gone, so he slots in immediately at guard, can be your left tackle of the future. Very much fits in to what they run there offensively, very similar to what they run offensively in the run scheme-wise, so a lot of outside zone runs at Iowa, so he'll be a very easy transition, easy fit for him to go to Denver.
Stupid athlete and stupid strong. Broke a ton of Brandon Scherf's records at Iowa in the weight room. Number 16, Atlanta, Christian Fulton, the LSU cornerback, a sticky cornerback that's maybe not as good as Derek Stingley, but Derek Stingley's not going to be draft eligible for a couple years. Christian Fulton, best coming out of LSU. I think he comes into Atlanta, immediately adds as a starter at outside corner.
Yeah, they have Isaiah Oliver there, a second-round pick, but he did not grade out well this past year in year 2 for him. You have to address it. You can't just go into year 3 of Isaiah Oliver thinking he's going to all of a sudden turn things around. I think addressing that position, second most valuable position on the football field that we keep saying, could be valuable for the Atlanta Falcons, could make a big impact there for them. May not be the most athletic in this class, but he never got torched. He never had bad games there at LSU, 2 years as starter. Outgraded Greedy Williams last year and the highest graded cornerback in SEC play this year.
All right, moving forward, number 17, A.J. Epinesa going to the Indianapolis Colts at 17. This isn't a good edge defender class. After Chase Young, the drop-off is significant, but number 2 is A.J. Epinesa. He's not in the same tier as Young athletically, but he's been productive when called upon at Iowa. I think Indy needs pass rush help. They get him at 17.
Colts move down. I mean, that's GM Chris Ballard. That's his MO. It's going to happen. Just get used to it. That's
Which is
what he
smart.
wants to do.
It's a smart MO to have. Trading down in the draft continues to add value.
He needs to get. He just thinks more picks gives him more chances to hit, and it's true. But A.J. Epinesa, the edge defender number 2 for us, physically very gifted, 6'5", 280 pounds, can play pretty much anywhere you want him to play along the defensive line of scrimmage. That versatility will be coveted for the Colts. They've sort of gravitated towards those types in the past.
18, second pick for the Miami Dolphins in this first round. They grabbed Josh Jones, athletic offensive tackle, I think 4-year starter at Houston, had 4 different offensive line coaches in that time. Talking to Dane Brugler of The Athletic, interesting background for him. He's sloppy, technique needs to improve, but he has a lot of tools you can buy into, and he also had a fantastic Senior Bowl.
Yeah, he had the highest win rate in the one-on-ones of any tackle at the Senior Bowl. Very powerful dude, has all, ticks all basically the boxes of athleticism, length that you want to see ticked at the tackle position. I think he's one of the most NFL ready, even though his pass sets probably need to be improved a little bit, probably need to fix his footwork to some degree. I think he's one of the most NFL ready tackles as well, which that's what they need in Miami. They need guys who can pass protect yesterday.
I mean, he was burying kids at the Senior Bowl, too. He's putting guys in the turf, a little bit of aggressive guy down there. 19, C.J. Henderson, the Florida cornerback, a quiet dude, doesn't talk a lot of trash, talked to him a little bit before this season, but his play speaks for itself.
I was going to say, he probably has the best pure man coverage skills after Jeffrey Okudah in this class. Like, he has all the athleticism, all the ability, smooth hips, like things you cannot teach about the cornerback position.
Fluid, such a fluid mover.
But just got beaten a little more this year than he did in years past. Only 18 catches as a sophomore. That number went up this past year, even though he got hurt and missed some time. There's some question marks on the tape, and the not being able to, the not like talking trash thing is personality-wise. There's a little something there.
Not every GM's going to fall in love with that.
But I do think that man coverage ability you bet on.
Well, also with his misses this year getting beat, a lot of those were mental miscues, things where he's kind of betting on himself to do different things. I still think when you put this guy pure one-on-one with any receiver in this class, he can be a pretty good player, pretty good matchup. Number 20, Jacksonville Jaguars. They get the best big receiver in this class, T. Higgins. Not going to separate at the level of CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy, but if you want a big dude, great in contested catch situations, situations that can actually push down the football field. T. Higgins at 20, yes, sir.
The Jaguars just don't have much of a chain mover at this point in time. They just really don't. Higgins is the guy to where even when he's not open, he's open. And if you have a quarterback like Gardner Minshew willing to give him some chances with the
future
football,
Hall of Famer
down the football field, he'll make that look a lot better than the receiving core there currently does. So I do think T. Higgins, just something they don't have in Jacksonville at the moment.
DJ Chark, T. Higgins, Gardner Minshew, the mustache. I like where that's pairing up here. Number 21, Henry Ruggs. Talk about a burner, a little bit of a different player than T. Higgins. This guy's going to run in the 4.2s at the combine, can really stretch the field. But what I was most impressed with, improved as a route runner down the stretch. I think this guy can create separation, be more than just a deep threat. Philadelphia at 21.
Yeah, we saw just how slow that Eagles receiving core looked without Deshaun Jackson, how much of an impact that loss caused on him. You can't have that happen again. Need some speed in there. This is one that's going to be mocked. I mean, circle it again and again and again because it just makes too much sense.
A product of the trade here, Detroit Lions, number 22. They grabbed Jordan Love, Utah State quarterback, a project. There are some at the Senior Bowl who are saying, I'd rather take Jordan Love over Justin Herbert based off the tools Love does have. I mean, the high end is spectacular, but the low end, there's some reservations in that.
Yeah, a couple of things here. One, the Lions have that extra first round that they got from trading down out of number 3 from the Miami Dolphins. So kind of icing on the cake here. Just a pick that they can that they didn't necessarily have before, anticipate having. So they move back up, jump the teams that probably could have used a quarterback there in New England and New Orleans, could have used a developmental type quarterback there. They get another developmental type guy because the apparent smoke around Matthew Stafford and the coaching staff or whatever there being a possible just unhappy with each other. So I do think they could address the quarterback position. Jordan Love, very toolsy, very much a project though. I think you'll see teams in this area be willing to take a chance on him because of the high level that he showed, trying to get rid of the low level through sort of quarterback development at the next level. Probably not ready to start right away, but again, you have Stafford in tow right now. And the worst thing you can have, or not the worst thing you could have, but situation arises where Jordan Love looks good.
That's not bad.
He recoup trade value immediately. You can get a first rounder back from him if he looks good at all, and whether it's preseason or filling in for Stafford gets hurt.
And remember, this is the PFF prediction mock, what we think could happen or will happen, not what we would do if we were GM for all 32 teams. There are some reservations about Jordan Love that doesn't even have him in the first 32 of PFF's big board. Number 23, New England Patriots, Grant Delpit, LSU, a guy that has, yes, the missed tackles. We got to bring it up every time we bring up this guy's name, but what he does have, instincts, range, good size, love his speed. I think Grant Delpit to New England, coach him up. This guy could be really good.
Yeah, you got Devin McCourty hitting free agency, 33 years old. Safety, just a need there, just a position that could be addressed. And Delpit, from a matchup coverage weapon perspective, is what the Patriots covet. That's what their MO has been. Give us a chess piece who can do a certain role and execute that role at a high level. At 6'3", a little over 200 pounds, he can just take tight ends off the mat. He is not. You're not going to worry about him in man coverage against opposing tight ends. He will more than hold his own. So I think the Patriots could be. Well, they like guys that can tackle. They also like guys that can cover. They drafted Asante Samuel at one point back in the day. They'll make that exception.
All right, 24. All right, Sean Payton, one of the most creative offensive play callers in the game. He takes advantage of guys' skill sets, especially versatile players. You see that with Taysom Hill, Laviska Shenault, one of the most versatile offensive skill players in this draft. You give him the Sean Payton, you don't know what's going to happen, but I think it's going to be good.
That's the exact thing. Sean Payton will get the ball in Shenault's hands. He'll find a way. Even Michael Thomas, his rookie year, was not a complete route runner. They only ran him on a handful of routes, but got him the ball a lot because they knew he was good on those routes. They'll get Shenault the ball in his hands, and then you got Shenault, Kamara, Michael Thomas,
Taysom Hill.
I mean, you just have dynamic weapons, dynamic playmakers with the ball in their hands. That's scary for opposing.
I am ready for the Taysom Hill, Laviska Shenault package right now. And also,
we talked to QB. Those two guys are.
We talked to Laviska Shenault. His favorite routes, the direct snap. I think they could mix some of those in New Orleans if he does get drafted at 24. Marlon Davidson, the defensive interior from Auburn, going to the Minnesota Vikings at 25. Blew up the Senior Bowl, and he only needed one day. Didn't practice after the first day, but what he did in short shorts on day one was impressive.
I would say they need a 3 technique in Minnesota. They kind of just skewed the position last year. Cost them down the stretch when their run defense just got exposed. Davidson is your quintessential 3 technique. Now, he played on the edge at Auburn, rushed off the edge, but his biggest sort of deficiency playing on the edge was winning off the edge and winning around the outside shoulder of offensive tackles which didn't have the speed to. That's not as big of an issue on the interior. He has great hands, great first get off, doesn't have necessarily the build-up speed, but Played at 280 last year, comes in at 297 in the Senior Bowl, and the way he dominated, I think he's very much a first-round type of player.
And that's the whole thing with Marlon Davidson. At edge, you had reservations about his game. Can he bend around the edge? At interior, like, oh man, this guy's a first-round player. This guy can do it at 297. All right, 26, Buffalo Bills. They get in there, grab Denzel Mims, the receiver that had, again, a very good Senior Bowl, very explosive, ran a versatile route tree in Mobile, really showed what he could do at the next level.
I think the Bills are in a very good position to trade back because of where they're sitting at, behind a few wide receiver needy teams, and the fact that it's such a deep wide receiving core. They might say, hey, there's probably 3 or 4 guys that we like that would fit our need at wide receiver. We'll go ahead and go down, accumulate some more picks, and then still grab our guy, Denzel Mims, as talented athletically as any wide receiver in this class. Big dude, big catch radius, great in contest situations, just something that the Bills do not have in their receiving core at the moment.
I really do like that for the Buffalo Bills. Number 27, this feels too good to be true. Trayvon Diggs, a long corner, physical corner with great press technique. He goes to Seattle. You know they love those types. Trayvon Diggs, man, so instinctive, great ball skills. There's a ton to like about this player.
Yeah, I mean, he was born to play in the Seattle press cover 3 sort of system. The longest cornerback I can remember coming out, a top cornerback prospect in recent memory. He has all the ball skills, all the sort of press technique to play in Seattle's defense. To me, if he's there, 27, he is the pick. They can't afford to run back in 2020 with the secondary they threw out.
I've got to jump to my favorite fit in your latest mock here. Zach Bond, linebacker from Wisconsin, came to the Senior Bowl, said, I want to prove to teams I can play off ball at the next level. Didn't have a ton of coverage snaps at Wisconsin, primarily played edge defender and rush the passer, but this guy can do it all. Rush the passer, playing coverage, a versatile piece for Don Wink Martindale? Yes, sir.
Yeah, only 195 coverage snaps over his last 2 seasons at Wisconsin, but he graded out very well on those coverage snaps, coverage grades over 80. Each of those seasons has all the athletic ability to play off ball. But the biggest thing is here, going to Baltimore, the blitz heaviest team in the NFL, using him as a blitz weapon.
You get me excited, Mike. You're getting me excited.
I mean, he had a 91 plus pass rushing grade this past season as an edge defender, going up against offensive tackles. He was killing guys on the edge. You think he goes up against running backs in the next level? They're even going to touch him? I mean, the dude's going to be one of the best blitzers in the NFL. I think that's a perfect piece for the Ravens to add.
Number 29, Tennessee Titans. Remember, this is the mock, the prediction mock, what we think could happen. We're not as high on Caleb Chase as others, but we could see him going to number 29 to the Tennessee Titans. A long, athletic, young prospect. People are liking him to Danielle Hunter coming out of LSU. Not the same player, but from an athletic standpoint, he's a good athlete that could produce at the next level with some improvements in consistency.
Yeah, still a little raw, but he can learn there from a guy like Harold Landry, who was an athletic, kind of project himself coming out for the Tennessee Titans, and it looked like a solid pick for them in the second round. So I think with Cameron Wake at his advanced age, he might not even be back next season for the Titans. And if he is, well, he can teach Caleb Chase on a thing or two about the speed rush. And I hope Caleb learns from, because he was just inconsistent this past year at LSU. You saw the athleticism, you saw the high-level reps. He beat some of the best tackles in college football.
That Sam Cosmi tape. Watch Caleb Chase against Texas. He beats up on Sam Cosmi pretty well.
Had some nice reps against some of the best tackles in college football, but he did not ever dominate even the bad tackles in college football, which is the thing that you're like, just a little concerned
I still really liked him to come back, get better, get more polished, but he is in this year's class, and people are going to fall in love, especially after the combine. People are going to fall in love with this kid. Number 30, we have Kenneth Murray, the off-ball linebacker from Oklahoma, rangy, athletic. Some concerns in his tape. I mean, the production wasn't great in coverage, but I think he's athletic enough to potentially, with improvement in technique and things like that, instincts, he can get better in coverage at the next level.
And I think he's a perfect fit for the Packers defense in terms of what they asked their linebacker to do. They play one linebacker, basically there. Blake Martinez was their guy, so much dime. And when it wasn't dime, it was heavy nickel or whatever, where there was also a safety on the field at linebacker. So Murray would fill that role, and they asked him to cover so many gaps in the run game. You have to be able to play sideline to sideline. Martinez, all too often, just physically did not have the tools, and just was not athletic enough to do so. Kenneth Murray very much is athletic enough, one of the most explosive linebackers in this class, at his best playing forward, and that's what they ask him to do in Green Bay's system, not necessarily go backwards, which is where I worry a little bit more about Murray. So just the fit there makes a lot of sense.
Especially Blake Martinez, unrestricted free agent. He might not come back to Green Bay. Kenneth Murray could come in, be that day one starter. 31, Austin Jackson, the offensive tackle of USC, maybe the heir apparent to Joe Staley when he does decide to retire. I think this makes sense.
Yeah, Austin Jackson, very athletic offensive lineman, very much fits what Shanahan likes from their offensive lineman in terms of being able to get out and play in space. And Joe Staley, like you mentioned, going to be 36 years old before the start of next season. Had injury issues this past season. There's no telling how long he'll make it. So probably starts in at guard initially in his career there for the 49ers, and then would be able to kick to left tackle in time.
Number 32, Super Bowl winning Kansas City Chiefs. They grabbed Patrick Queen, the LSU off-ball linebacker, getting likened to Devin White for what he did in the national championship game. That's where really the rocket started with this guy's draft stock. Athletic, maybe a little bit thin. There's some inconsistency on his tape. Why are we just now hearing about him? I mean, there's some reservations with Patrick Queen, but people could like him after a good combine.
His coverage ability, though, is night and day from what they have at the Chiefs linebackers.
Oh, yeah.
Right now with Anthony Hitchens,
Reggie Ragland, not going to cut it.
Compared to the way Queen does. He's not quite as explosive as a guy like Kenneth Murray, not quite as big as a guy like Isaiah Simmons at the top of this draft, so some reservations about that, but you can't teach how smooth he is in coverage. And yes, they could go cornerback too, but I just think linebacker is a little more scarce of a position at this point in the draft, that there will be some linebackers for the Chiefs on day 2 that you could go attack, or excuse me, some quarterbacks on day 2 for the Chiefs that you go attack that could add to your coverage defense, not necessarily linebackers.
That's going to do it for PFF's latest 2020 NFL mock draft, the prediction mock, what we think could happen or will happen come April's draft. Remember to subscribe to PFF's YouTube channel. Also subscribe 2-for-1 Drafts, Mike and I's podcast. You got to do that as well. Again, 2020 mock draft, PFF's latest.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.